Welcome back to another episode of A Therapist, a Buddhist, and You, brought to you by the Recovery Collective in Annapolis, Maryland. This is where we explore collective solutions to all things health and wellness. And today's all is the week of Thanksgiving. And after Thanksgiving, for a lot of people, it's other holidays like Hanukkah and Christmas. We are in holiday season. So what I like to do today for our fortunate listeners, and if you listened to the previous episode, grateful listeners, today I want to talk about helpful, sober hints for the holidays. We've got a portion of our listeners that are either in recovery, long-term, short-term, the family members that listen to our podcasts to learn more about addiction and recovery. And this is the time of year which can be tough and challenging and stressful and triggering and a relapse trap for people in recovery, no matter how long you have. So I think it's a good time to give some helpful hints for the holidays. How does that sound?
That sounds really good. Yeah.
Well, let's hop into it. It's holiday season, and let's do some hints, and we'll kind of give our perspective on it and see how we can help people relate to staying sober through this time of year. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Like the 12 days of Christmas, like the 12 steps and 12-step program. Guess how many hints I have to provide?
12.
You are correct, sir. Here we go. All right. First helpful hint for the holidays, which can be used year-round, so that's a good thing, but we'll give them out for this season. Hint 1, helpful hint. The correct response is no thank you. So what I mean by that is a lot of times people are at business, holiday festivities, whether you're going to your family members and they drink, whether you're at that Christmas or holiday party, a lot of times you're offered alcohol. And sometimes for people that drink, this can seem really challenging or tough to fathom, but the answer is no thank you. It seems simple for people that might not struggle or have been there, but man, that's important.
I mean, 12-step talks about powerlessness. You know, some people think that they don't have the power to say no thank you. But especially if there's a support group or people who you're working with or who are sober, you know, that's where we get the power to say no thank you. Because that was my first experience. I was like, people are going to judge me that I don't drink. That it was as if somebody's going to like pour a drink into my mouth, you know. But when I have something in my hand, it can be water, Gatorade, you know, Red Bull. Nobody really care. Even if they do care and give it to me, I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. No, thank you. And it doesn't matter. So that can be very empowering. And
because of that, for a lot of us, we couldn't fathom being at a work event or a wedding or a family holiday meal where we start to give reasons like, okay, you don't have to say that you're on medication. You don't have to say that you're the designated driver. You certainly can. But you can leave it at, no, I'm good, thanks. Now, for me, I got sober when I was 20 years old. It was so fascinating for me to realize over time when someone offered me a drink for whatever the occasion, my first response was, nah, I'm okay. And that it's the human innate experience. If there's any hesitancy, oh, come on, man. Come on. I could sense that you have a little bit of doubt. Well, let me remove your doubt and say drink. So my hesitancy went from no thank you to no, I'm good, thanks. And that made a lot of difference. The peer pressure wasn't so much. And if they still did it, it was no, really, thank you, I'm good. And that can make a huge difference. So tip 1, no thank you. Here's another one. Put a chip, a key tag in your pocket. It can help ground you. So for people in 12-step fellowships, NA gives out key tags for various lengths of sobriety, and a lot of times AA meetings will give out chips for various lengths of sobriety time, 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months, a year, 2, 3 years. And that chip can just be something that can ground you. If you're feeling a little uneasy, whether it's a family event or a work occasion, man, putting your hand on that chip that's in your pocket, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm sober. This is what it's all about. Now, I used to have a grounding technique when I was tripping. So if I was hallucinating, one of my coping skills was have something that I know was real. And if it started to go a little off, I could ground myself with whatever that thing was that I had, whether it was something silly as a rock or something that was more personal to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I can certainly do that in sobriety in a healthy way too.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it's that chip or that key tag that goes, wait a minute, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that tool because I literally used that suggestion in my first year of sobriety. And it was super helpful because I was still going to college and there were a lot of drinking scene, but I always had the chip, like whatever month I had. But then the cool thing about that is that when I touch it, I become aware of the fellowship because it's not like a chip that I just secretly picked up. But when I pick up that chip, it's in front of the group,
You
know?
earned that chip.
Yeah. And when you touch it, you're just reminded of like the whole village,
There's power in that, that key tag or that chip.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you have a medallion.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that chip in your pocket.
And one side of the chip says, to thine own self be true. And that can mean a lot of things. And when you're might be get a little squirrely or a little uneasy at a meeting or a family occasion or these holidays, that chip, that key tag can really go, I'm okay. It can be a power greater than you. It can be true to yourself.
Yeah. What's the next one?
Next one, bring someone with you. So whether it's a friend, a significant other, a sponsor, a sober person, if you're really that worried about the occasion, especially this is for the people that are going to, for the holidays, home to family events. And maybe not your work party. Hey, who's this guy? Oh, this is Johnny. This is my sponsor. Might work, might not. But certainly when you're going home to your traditional holiday event, bring a person that's supportive of your sobriety with you. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, recovery or sobriety is discovering a new self. Sometimes my friends or a new fellow in recovery or my sponsor knows me better, my new self, But when I go back to my old buddies, they can bring me back to my old self quite quickly. So it's helpful to have somebody who knows me as a sober person and then, have that sounding board in a way.
I can't tell you how many people I know, whether it's their sponsor, whether it's one of their friends in their home group, that to their family gathering during the holiday, and certainly goes with them to a wedding or an event where it's like, gosh, I don't think I'm going to be comfortable, but I really want to be comfortable enough to go, and I can do so if I have the support of someone with me. Bring someone with you. And if you're still not comfortable, here's an extra tip I'm throwing in there. Don't go. If you're that uncomfortable, it's not worth risking your sobriety over the passive aggressive grandparent or aunt. Well, you're not coming? No, I'm not comfortable. Well, they might guilt trip you, but guess what? That BS guilt trip is not worth losing your sobriety. Agree?
Yeah, agree. And to piggyback on that a little bit too, with the previous tip of like to thine own self be true, right? Like that's also another good thing to take an inventory of that. What's the purpose of me going there? And then when I'm actually there, I can pause and ask myself, am I still here for that reason? And if I stay true to that purpose, yeah, I am here for that reason, for my children, for the event, for work, whatever it is. And if you can say yes to that, you're solid because you're there for that reason. But if you start doubting that, oh, what am I here for? Actually, then leave, So,
and I certainly would explore this deeper with people and individual in therapy. But if you're solely there for the other person, is that healthy? Is that the healthiest thing for your recovery? If you're putting your recovery first, and if you're staying sober, and if that's the healthiest thing, then this whole, codependent, guilt-ridden dynamic, it's a tough dynamic that we fall into with our old family patterns that are often toxic, which is often why it's fun for me as a therapist during the holiday season, because I get to work on those family dynamics. And I get to help people what's healthy for them, whether it's related to substances or not. So yeah.
Yeah, these are all good tips.
Good.
Keep it going.
Next one. You said this one, which is great already. As soon as you're at the place, put a drink in your hand. if you got a drink in your hand, whether it's a red Solo cup with water, a ginger ale, a cranberry juice, a Coca-Cola, a rum and Coke virgin rum and Coke, just a Coke, then they're not going to ask you if you want a drink.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do, guess what you get to say? No, I'm good. Thanks. Oh, you already got a drink in your hand. They don't give two shits if it's water or alcohol, I assure you.
Yeah.
I still use this technique for when I'm at some music venues, right? Some of them are standing kind of in the close front, and people are spilling their drinks and all this stuff. And it's like a pacifier for me, whether it's a bottled water, a Coke, that, you know what? I'm good. I'm here for the music. I'm here to pick up on the vibe and the energy of the music. And whether I'm with other people that are drinking or there, it is my pacifier. It's just like my grounding technique for having a chip in my pocket. But when I got a drink, no, I'm good. Appreciate it. Oh, I spilled beer. Let me get you a drink. Oh God, all over my shoulder. I'm good, man. I got a drink. I appreciate you. Have fun. So especially with these upcoming work parties for holidays or the end of year work events that are often open bars, get yourself a cup of water, ice, Coke, ginger ale, whatever floats your boat.
Mm-hmm.
Put a drink in your hand.
Yeah, that's good. I don't have much to say about that other than the fact that when people want you to be there, they don't necessarily they don't need you to drink, but they want you to be present.
Yeah.
And I can be more present as a sober person. Mm-hmm. And having that drink in my hand, whatever it is, it doesn't matter as long as I'm being present, and people appreciate that.
Well said. Tip 5, drive yourself. It's your escape. Have an escape plan. If you drive yourself, it's your escape. And here's the beauty, whether it's just making an appearance or staying an hour, you've got your own car. Or if you get uncomfortable, you can always leave. And here's an addendum to that. Park so no one blocks you in. So a lot of time with these family events or certain places that you go that you might be blocked in. No. No. Be strategic. Mm-hmm. Don't be blocked in. You are your own exit. So you could go with friends or family members. But if you have any doubt whatsoever, drive yourself.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And you won't be driving drunk since you're not drinking.
Uh-huh. Yeah. This is true for, once again, weddings. This is true for you name it. You name it. Mm-hmm. I remember early on, probably my first or second year of sobriety, that here in the local Annapolis area, they would do alcothons and sober events where they had meetings every hour on the holiday. And I told my family's, I'm fortunate. My family is supportive, have always been very supportive of my recovery, and gave me an ultimatum when I got my legal troubles. So in every way, they were supportive. And I think it was Christmas, and I told my family, it was just my immediate family. It wasn't the extended family holiday piece, that I was going to go to the alcothon, and I think I was doing some service. I was giving back, right? And we did the gifts and all of that, and I probably around noon or 1, I started to leave, and I remember my mom met me at the front steps while I was going in my car, and she said, "Hey, Luke, do you really need to go to that meeting?" Now, did I know that? Did I really need to go to that meeting? Did I have cravings? Were my family stressing me out? No. Were my family members drinkers? No. I was the black sheep. So in that sense, did I need to go to the meeting? No. But what did I tell my mom? Yeah, Mom, I do. And part of it was because they were part of my family. They were helping me stay sober, the people in the fellowship that I got to do service there. That was part of my gratitude and thanks and appreciation and give back and connection. And even though my family was support, I know my mom was just loving me and was going to miss me on a holiday. I know that. But I told her, yeah, I do. She didn't fight me or anything, but I remember being in that situation, and that isn't with guilt and shame behind it, where a lot of family members are. But I left. I left. It was my time. And part of me doing that and keeping that commitment was I don't know if I'm ever going to be in a position where I was going to be triggered at a holiday. And so it was a good practice for me to leave when I quote unquote didn't need to, but I felt like it was a commitment that I wanted to do. I drove myself. So even though I didn't need to, I did. I chose to. I set up that part of my plan that this is my first time not being blitzed out of my mind for opening presents with my family. So I'm going to just go ahead and set that as part of my day. And I left.
Yeah, that's good. It's better to be proactive and precautious when it comes to this. Some kind of like an automatic intervention to just do it anyway.
Yep. Hey listeners, we've got something extraordinary to share, a chance to reshape your journey no matter where you are. You're familiar with Zalmal's insights on our podcast, but there's more. Through the Recovery Collective, he offers life, mindfulness, recovery coaching, and meditation groups guiding you toward a fulfilled and mindful existence, no matter your location. Zal's journey from a Burmese Buddhist novice to a skilled practitioner equips him with timeless wisdom and contemporary strategies. Whether you're navigating life's shifts, seeking clarity, or pursuing self-awareness, Zal's coaching serves as a compass guiding you toward success. The best part? Zal's approach centers on your growth and empowerment. He equips you with tools to tap into your inner strengths for continuous evolution no matter where you are. Ready to take that next step in your personal growth journey? Connect with Zalmal and the Recovery Collective at 240-813-8135 from anywhere in the world. Investigating in your journey reaps immeasurable rewards. Let Zalmal guide you toward resilience, clarity, and empowerment no matter where life finds you. Now, let's transition back into our conversation. Stay tuned, stay curious, and keep your journey growing. Good.
Yep.
Halfway through, number 6.
What's that?
Call ahead if you're traveling. Connect with a member at the local club or the inner group. You get to instantly connect, and you can still use and have that fellowship. Mm-hmm. So we're so fortunate nowadays that you can do meetings online. That's certainly been a silver lining since COVID. But my goodness, call ahead to the local inner group and say, hey, I'll be in on Wednesday or Friday or Thanksgiving. What's a good meeting for me to connect to? You instantly got that connection of another man or woman that can connect with you that isn't family or business related.
Yeah. And it's really good for the self kind of reflection or self-esteem in a way too, when you well thought out ahead of time. That means that you are giving your sobriety a shot, that you care. So when you make a phone call, plan ahead, that means that you care about your sobriety. And that's a sign of self-respect, that you're keeping yourself accountable.
All these things are proactive and the opposite of complacency. All of these things are tips designed to give you a healthy part that you do have control over. That we don't know if when we're, at the place where someone offers us a drink and all of a sudden we don't say no thank you and we have hesitancy. We don't know if we're going to be at the place where all of a sudden I got this strong desire to drink or drug and I don't have a vehicle, right? Those are some things that we're powerless over. So this is an example of, well, let's be proactive and do some things that you do have healthy control and power over to increase your chances of getting farther away from a drink or drug.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another one. We said call ahead. Number 7, bring reading material. Whether it's recovery related, whether it's big book, the basic text, bring recovery related material, whether it's the grapevine, you name it, whether it's meditation related, gratitude related, bring healthy, positive, solution recovery oriented stuff that can feel like either a meeting on the go, or it can feel like, this is grounding me and centering me, and I might not have a buddy to go with me on that trip or to that family. This is not possible, but I can use this just like a chip or a tag can be tangible. Reading some good words can be tangible too, whether it's the Bible for people, whether it's a a Dharma reading, you name it.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good tip too. It just makes me think of like how many times have I gotten drunk because I was just bored. I didn't have anything to do, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been coming up in my, interactions with people in recovery lately about the fact that recovery or sobriety is not about not doing, but it's about doing something else. So it's not about, yeah, so I like that because no idle time. If I'm just not drinking, then just a ticking bomb, So filling the time with things that are meaningful, things that are good, like reading spiritual literature, things like that. That's much a healthier, practical way to stay sober.
Absolutely. Here's the next one. Number 8. Call people. Don't text people. Call people. Especially during this time, the end of the year, during the holidays. This is a really important time. We text too much, right? It's hard to, if you are struggling and you say, hey, how are you doing? I don't know the tone of your text that you're struggling and you're reaching out. It's so important to hear the voice. That way I can tell if you're in trouble. I can connect to the voice through the emotion. But man, you just saying, I'm good. But if you say that on a phone call and I've been working with you and connecting with you and I know you, bullshit, what's really going on? So call people, not when you feel like you have to. Get in the habit of doing it when you don't have to. Just call. It's a connection. It's a connection piece. Do you agree?
I agree, but the flip side too is that you might be calling someone to get help, but you never know where that person is. Yeah. I've had so many examples where I will call somebody to get help, but they are in a place where they need a phone call,
Yeah.
So never know. So don't overthink when you want to call, just call.
Absolutely. Don't wait for the craving. Yeah. Don't wait for the stress or the trigger. And especially if you're traveling and be proactive and talk to these people beforehand. And I always tell people, hey, before you get to your family's house, before you get to that business meeting, call me on the ride there. So that way, talking about you putting your mindset in the right place, you're getting in that healthy to thine own self be true, getting away from fear, getting closer to connection and love and good place. So that way, if shit hits the fan, it's a whole lot easier because, hey, we just had a conversation 5 minutes to 2 hours ago, and it's so much easier to do that when you already set up the conditions to that be okay. Mm-hmm. You're farther away from the addictive mindset. Mm-hmm. This is true whether you have 20 years or 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Good. Let's see, where are we at? Number 9. Get out of yourself. Do something for someone else. Whether it's go to food banks, cook for others, run errands for the elderly, help your family, go to the local intergroup or you name it. Get outside of yourself. Get away from the resentment, the woe is me, the poor is me. Get outside of yourself in a healthy way. And this is the time of year and season why we cultivate that because it's helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's no shortage of that,
There's not.
Help, So, and then if you do already have like a relationship with a power greater than you or God or whatever, it's always good to ask that question too. Like, how can I help? Mm-hmm. Show me how I can help. And there's always something.
It's freeing. Oh, it's freeing. It's yeah, we highlighted a lot of that in the last episode, but get outside of yourself, help others, and don't expect anything in return. And if you do, it works out wonderfully. Number 10, it's an acronym, HALT. So the acronym is hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And I think it's fair to say if you have 2 of these, if you're hungry and isolated and lonely, or if you're angry and lacking sleep, you're setting up the dynamics for whether it's resentment, whether it's irritability, whether it's cravings, you're not in a good place. Mm-hmm. So be very mindful and it's important to not be lonely this time of year. And if you're not angry, you might be sad and anxious or depressed or down or grief during this time of year. So it might not be angry, but it might be some other uncomfortable emotions. And if that pairs well with loneliness or isolation, well, we get in our head, and that's not always a good place to be. And then our appetite might not be hungry, but we might eat like shit and cope because we are sad or depressed or angry because of this time of year. So if you got two of these things going on, reach out to people, whether it's your fellowship, whether it's therapy, whether it's getting outside of yourself in a healthy way, whether it's giving back. Two of these four things can be iffy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awareness and action,
Yeah.
can be so powerful because, like it's also a way of self-compassion too. Like if you're craving and if you're like feeling irritable, and then if you're in this mode of hungry, angry, lonely, tired, you're not being fair to yourself, because it's not your fault that you want to drink, because there are some basic needs. So, but at the same time, like calling somebody can be a good way to snap out of it, because the other person will be like, have you eaten anything, in the past 12 hours? Or are you tired? Whatever it is, like as soon as we become aware of it, especially with these like things, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, there's an action that we can take right away. It's not like we're starving in a desert and we cannot even eat. But like as soon as I realize I'm tired, I should take a nap, or as soon as I realize I'm hungry, well, I should go buy food, something good for me. So these are all very awareness action right away.
Yeah, there's healthy ways to act and react in a healthy way when these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Are we at 10, 11?
So, yeah, I said that one was a bonus, but it was actually number 11, which is if you don't feel comfortable, don't go. There'll be other years. There'll be other seasons. Your family may not understand. Guess what? Grandma may never understand. Auntie may never understand.
That's okay.
But your recovery and your health and your sanity and your serenity and your peace of mind does. So that's the hard thing. And sometimes we need support and to have the courage to do that, because we might know we might hear that every year that you didn't come in 2023 to Thanksgiving or Christmas or you name it. And you might hear that every year, and that might make you quote unquote want to drink too. But guess what? If you and your support go, it's not worth it. Don't go. Let people help you, empower you to do that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, number 12, the final one.
What is it?
Prayer or a higher power. When it comes down between you and a drink or using, however you want to say it, connect to something greater than you. That power can be through the form of a phone call. It can be through a meditation practice. It can be through a mantra, a chant, a prayer, a God, please help me. It doesn't matter what it is, but when it's you in a jam and you're at that jumping off point in terms of calling that number, picking up that drug dealer, picking up that dope, copping, drinking, it's time to use something greater than you. And prayer is one way to do it.
Yeah, prayer is powerful. I mean, I'm a Buddhist, and I mean, for a non-theistic approach, like for me, I do use prayer a lot without any kind of religious attitude behind it. But for me, prayer is all about changing thoughts. Like when I pray, especially like when I verbally say something, it's like a sign and a sign to the universe that, yes, I need help. What should I do? Show me the way. Or repeating something over and over again can be a prayer too, because people talk about higher power, but like whatever you're thinking about right in this moment, that's your higher power,
Yes,
and we can kind of rewire that by prayer. Or sometimes the best way is to, reach out or go out for a walk, whatever it is, something that's physical. But prayer is powerful. Positive intention, change of thoughts, or asking for guidance, acting as if, like whatever works, but just do something, we don't need to be passive.
Mm-hmm. So there's this lady with many years in sobriety. Her name is Jan. This is her list that she would often share about this time every year. And she would always give an example about her sponsee, and her sponsee was going to go to Dallas with family. And Jan was her sponsor. And Jan outright told her, "Don't go." she had a lot more time and maybe some soundness of mind, peace of mind, and she said, "I wouldn't go if I were you." And guess what? The sponsee went, and she got a call from her sponsee, and she was at the airport, and she said to Jan, "I think I'm going to drink." And of course, Jan, she's a Boston lady, and she says, "Well, there's not much I can do for you right now, but I will tell you to do this. If I were you, I would pray." And she had a belief in a higher power and said, "I love you. And I hope you do okay. And whether you get on that plane or not, or you drink, I hope before you do any of that, you pray." And love you, hung up the phone. Much time went by. Maybe a day went by. And she said, "Well, what happened? What'd you do?" I said, "Jan, after that, I went into that bathroom. I went into that stall. I closed the door and I got on my knees and I prayed. And I'm still sober." So that power of a higher power in that dirty bathroom stall in that airport, and she connected to that power greater than ourselves, and she stayed sober, and she got the power through that good orderly direction through Jan in that moment too. So it's a powerful thing, and luckily she recoiled as if it were a hot flame and didn't get attracted to it, and wreckage of family and the downward spiral that often happens to us when we take that poison again. So that's a good one to close on, that connection of that power greater than ourselves, whatever that is for us. We don't have to wait for that last second, that it can work through a lot of these other examples that we gave. It's the support, it's that good orderly direction. And we hope these tools were certainly beneficial to you. And if you think someone else would benefit from them, please share. Please share so that other people it can help other people.
Yeah, these are all good stuff. I especially like the final tip, final hint of prayer, because there are just so many unseen forces at work, and they have their best interest in you. And that's what happens when you pray. Just reach out whatever way possible, and wholeheartedly, even if you don't mean it, just say it. Like, just help me, or take this obsession away from me. Take this away. Just show me what I need to do, and I'll do it.
I have a close friend of mine that was very doubtful of whatever God is, and he started every talk or prayer, "To whom it may concern." I need your help. To whom it may concern, I need your help. I think I'm going to drink, and I love it, right? There's no wrong way.
Yeah.
At least not in my mind, from my experience.
Good stuff. One final instruction, which is, I've heard it, at a meeting, and it spoke to me recently about prayer, is that this lady was struggling, and then she doesn't believe in God, and her sponsor said something that, "I don't even know how to pray. What do I do?" And she said that just say honestly what comes to your mind out loud. And then what she said was that, "This is too much. I cannot do it," And then prayer can be as simple as that. Like, whatever comes to your mind because, to thine's own self be true again, right? Like, as alcoholics and addicts, we're so good at self-deception. But as soon as we connect to the truth, like, everything opens up. Even if I say that I really want to drink right now, please help me. That's what's from my heart. I mean it,
Yes.
And the universe responds to that. So just wanted to conclude with that thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. I'm thankful for you to sit next to you in all these episodes that we do. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving coming up, and all the listeners do too. And look forward to wrapping up the year for the last couple episodes before the end of 2023.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Great. My name is Luke.
This is Zoe. Happy holidays.
See you next time.